Hey guys, I just got back from the National Review Summit and I thought you might like a little taste of Tony Snow's speech.
As a nation and as conservatives, what we ought to be doing is at all times not hiding our light under a bushel, but proclaiming boldly what we believe. And don't be afraid, as Larry was telling you just a few minutes ago, to lay out the facts for those who don't get it. Because there are many out there who are practicing what I call defiant defeatism. You see a lot of it, acting tough, acting defiant. What they end up doing is making up their own facts. Because there's a failure narrative that they think may be politically good. Fine, but it's wrong. For instance, today I gathered that John Kerry was speaking in Davos. In English, I believe. And he said the following. This is a snippet. This actually, since Larry's doing commercial on this, which he should have won a sandwich board up here. Powerline cribbed this piece. It said, when we walk away from global warming, Kyoto, when we are irresponsibly slow in moving toward AIDS in Africa, when we don't advance and live up to our own rhetoric and standards, we send a terrible message of duplicity and hypocrisy. The problem there is that there is no part of that litany that is true. Not one. We led the way toward environmental action around the globe. What's scarcely noted is that since the president has taken office, when it comes to CO2 emissions from vehicular or industrial sources, we've been outperforming Europe. We've been outperforming much of the world. And why? Because we're letting free markets do the work. And when it comes to dealing with crises around the globe, who's always first to the scene? When a tsunami hits, who do you call? You call us, because we're going to be there. The fact is, when it comes to the economy, we really have overcome. I want you to think about what has happened in the United States of America since George W. Bush was elected. The president was, this country was at the time of the president's election, in a recession. Not reported, of course, until he was safely in office. But the fact is that there was a recession going on. Then came September 11th, an economic hit that inflicted perhaps $1 trillion or more. That is with a cheap tea on our economy. A lesser economy would have stumbled, would it have not? Maybe even collapsed. That was the hope of bin Laden. That was the hope of the people who mounted the campaign. But that didn't happen. Then we had Enron, which led to regulations that inflicted billions and billions of dollars of extra expenditure on the economy. We have had a war in Afghanistan, an ongoing war in Iraq, a war on terror. We have had the costliest natural disaster in the history of the United States of America. We have had oil shocks. And throughout all of that, did the economy collapse? No, it didn't. By what magic did this happen? Very simple. Early on, right after September 11th, the president said, it is time now to make use of our most precious asset, which are our people. Now, you don't really need to give the American people marching instructions when it comes to doing the right things, including taking care of themselves. So we cut tax rates, and almost immediately good things began to happen, not because there was some decree that came out of Washington, but because people did what came naturally. After September 11th, everybody in this room felt it. You thought it was important to take care of your families. You thought it was important to work hard. You thought it was important to save, to take precautionary measures if necessary. But what you did is you focused on the business. And my sense is that we all worked harder, we prayed harder, and we loved more. And as a result, what happened in this country is that we defied the economic gravitational forces of September 11th. And we defied the road bumps of Enron. And we defied the natural order that costly wars would drag us down. And we defied the fact that even though we had 1/4 of our oil refinery capacity taken out by Katrina, we got through it. And after a subsequent oil shock, we did not come to our knees. And that is because people simply rolled up their sleeves and did their jobs. And quite often there's this notion, and you hear it especially when people on the left talk about making the economy good. They say, well, you're not being bold. You know what the definition of boldness is? Making people miserable. You have to, why are people sacrificing? Why are they in pain? Because they don't have to be, that's why. If you want to make an economy great, don't make people miserable. Don't rewrite their lives. Get out of their way. That has been, in fact, the motive principle and inspiration. This economy is strong because we decided that we would snip away some of the things binding the American people. But we need to do more, don't we? And let me just do a parenthetical before I move on to that next point. We discovered that conservatism, especially through the presidency of Ronald Reagan, the conservatism is not a blocking action. Remember Bill Buckley years ago, God love Bill, when he used to say that there he was standing athwart history saying, stop. Well, no more. We are the agents of history, and we ought to say, go.